If we can turn back the clock of time, if we can rotate it back almost 20 years ago.
A real Donnybrook, that's going to be. Nicely executed and down to the canvas. Here comes, all hell's going to break loose now. Anything goes here.
Welcome to the 8th edition of the Atomic Dropcast, your weekly knee to the ass bone for your ear holes. I'm Brian, and alongside my co-host Mikey.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. What we're doing here is we're taking a look back at the wrestling from our childhood from a new perspective as adults. We're recapping the action, and we're giving you guys another look at the angles in the wrestling from yesteryear.
Yes, sir, and this week it's Monday Night Raw number 198, the ECW Invasion. Broadcasted live February 24th, 1997.
Raw is ECW. Live from New York City. We're in the Manhattan Center where the original Raws took place. They're giving us an attendance of 1,000 people. I am not seeing 1,000 people.
I don't think so. Technically, it is the Grand Ballroom rather than the Hammerstein. But,
yes.
I don't know, man. It's a bit much. 1,000?
Yeah, I'm not seeing 1,000. The way this arena is set up, I would be surprised if there was 1,000 people in the building.
They must be counting the boys in the back.
Yeah, no doubt. Brian, how you doing today?
Oh, man, not too bad. Boozing and cruise. I don't know.
Feeling good. Yes, sir. Same.
I was like, how about you?
You know me, feeling good and ready to do this podcast.
Honestly, man, this was probably for me, the most anticipated episode, and I didn't even know it was happening until we watched last episode. So this past week, I'm in. I've been geared up for this one.
Same. We both knew this was part of 1997. I had no idea it was happening so early. This is a happy surprise, I guess they call it.
100%.
So we got the ECW invasion going on. If you remember last week on Raw, Jerry Lawler not only put down ECW, but had a phone call with Paul E. Heyman Dangerously, or whatever you want to call me.
Exactly.
And challenged him, and then Paul E. said, we'll be there next week on Raw. So here we are, a week later, and hope you guys are doing good out there listening.
Because next week on Raw, you just happen to be in New York, which is a short drive from Philly.
That's it.
Logistics.
Cutting into the show, we get the intro video right off the rip. There's no cold intro or no cold open. We go right into the intro. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but is this the first time we see the WWF, worldwide leader in sports entertainment for 50 years?
The spinning tech steel?
Yeah, in the beginning.
I can't say 100% it's been on everything, but other than the pay-per-views and Raw Thursday, I will say I do remember that each episode of Raw that has that sweet, sweet jazz rocking.
Well, that's I guess that's the issue with us being under the influence. Sometimes we don't remember things from previous weeks.
Or anything from previous.
That's it. Right off the rip, we get to see the Godwins already in the ring.
You know what that means, folks.
No intro. They're probably going to lose.
Oh, Hog and Pig, who are without Hillbilly Jim.
Hillbilly Jim, nowhere to be found. Maybe he went looking for Honky Tonk Man, but since then, Honky's been found. Hillbilly Jim has not been informed. He's out in the woods somewhere.
Well, as Vince pops up with later, he may still be out duck hunting in Central Park, as the Godwins were said to have been earlier in the day.
I wouldn't doubt it. Anyway, the Godwins get no intro, but they're coming into a match against the new Blackjacks, who pop in the ring right away and attack the Godwins from behind, signaling the beginning of the match. This one goes about a little over 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes actually. And at the end, the referee's distracted by Henry Godwin, who's trying to climb into the ring illegally. Bradshaw climbs in, takes advantage of the referee's blindness, and Phineas has a sleeper hold on his tag team partner, Blackjack Wyndham. Bradshaw hits the ropes, Wyndham drops out just in time, and Bradshaw debuts the clothesline from hell on Phineas Godwin, although they don't call it that. Before rolling out of the ring, Wyndham gets the 3 count. Phineas has his foot on the ropes, and a second referee comes out to argue with the original referee, but he refuses to reverse his decision based on what he saw. So the new Blackjacks win the match against the Godwins. What did you think of this one, buddy?
Starting from the finish, going back. I think I don't know, and maybe once they did it, someone was like, nah, son. But it wasn't just kind of the debut of the clothesline from hell. It was technically, I don't know if it was intended to be, or if it was just happenstance. Like, okay, here's how this finish is going to happen, because it does come from the clothesline. The clothesline turns into a 3/4 face lock that turns into a sit out 3/4 face lock jawbreaker, which we all know to be the Stone Cold Stunner, or because he is on the card, we got to give him this, the Whippersnapper.
The Whippersnapper. There you go.
And yeah, so it goes from the clothesline to the Whippersnapper, and as he pops up from the Whippersnapper, clothesline from hell. So I wonder if that was just the turn of events at the, how they planned it, or more than likely was that like their planned finishing maneuver, and once it was seen, Austin was like
That very well could have been the case. I don't know. I think it was just them trying to come up with a creative way to get out of it and showcase Bradshaw, who's the young bull of the tag team.
It's very possible, and I'll give them this. Good way to get out of a sleeper. Probably not the first person to get out of a sleeper in that way, but here's the rub. You've got a guy you're building up, and you've had him in the heavyweight title division scene for a second now, and what you've just done is shown his finishing maneuver to be nothing more than a desperation.
I don't know. I didn't call a stunner from it. I called more of a jawbreaker, to the top of the head.
Go back. That chin is firmly on the shoulder.
I'll have to take another look, but I didn't call it as a stunner. I didn't even see that until you called it. Now I just saw like a drop and almost a release, and then bam, Bradshaw off the ropes. But match overall wise, I thought it was a pretty crappy debut from the Blackjacks based on the fact that they had very little offense throughout.
Yeah, I mean, and overall, it was overshadowed incredibly by several factors. One, Vinny Macaroni back on commentary.
Yeah, he was stellar throughout the show.
Oh, it's great. Great in a bad, like you're watching a bad movie way.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that in all of my notes for shorthand, I wrote them down as the new BJs. Yeah, I mean, it was overshadowed by Vince is back for the first time. They open up the show, and not just open up the show, they come in hot. Like they don't wait for the bell. There's the crowd is generally disinterested until the very end. There are a few Godwin suck chants, but in between, it's a bunch of ECW. Look at this. Yeah. Look at this. There's several Nitro sucks chants toward the very end. There is a "We Want Sandman" chant, and this is like you said, this is a almost 6 minute match, and within the last minute, they're chanting "We Want Sandman." Like,
yeah,
the New York crowd is like, "Get the fuck out of here with this WWF cowboy shit." Where the fuck are my Zubas and my beer?
One of the first things I noticed was the heavy ECW fan influence. They're everywhere throughout this crowd, which is great based on what's going on. It really feels like an invasion when the fan base is on board.
Yeah, and we've seen that we've seen that slowly creep in over the past few weeks with the ECFNW sign on the Final Four and more shirts. But we also have seen, I can't say we've seen some NWO shirts for sure, and definitely the one thing I don't know. I guess maybe it's the logo because it's kind of big, stands out to me more. I keep noticing 4 Horsemen shirts, which is odd in this time period because, good God, the stable is over, and not in the sense that they're doing well, like they're done.
I did notice 4 Horsemen. I did notice the BWO shirts.
Oh man, to the left side, opposite hard camera.
Yep.
That is the BWO section. Jeez.
But they were pretty peppered throughout.
Oh yeah, no, all throughout. But like on that left side, for some reason, there is a hardcore contingent of blue BWO shirts.
No pun intended.
Yeah, holding it down. One line in there of the Kings. He says, also he mentions he's the one that says the Godwins were duck hunting in Central Park earlier today. And he also says it's so cold up here. Phineas's tooth was chattering today.
Singular. Yeah.
Vince responds, his tooth? Like he ain't never heard of someone having a tooth.
Yeah, no doubt. Vince can't tell the Blackjacks apart.
I couldn't fucking either.
Yeah, no, it's hard unless they show you their faces.
Both of their mustaches look like old, dirty brooms that were used to mop tar on roofs in the 1960s, cut off of the wood and glued to their faces.
Yeah, I agree. It looked like glued on mustaches. It was pretty rough. It took me till today, not till today. I guess I knew before today, but when I was a kid, I definitely didn't know that's Barry Windham in there.
Yeah, wait, I mean, I knew that based on just
Blackjack Windham.
Yeah, but yeah, he definitely looks different than we have seen him. I see, and I always mix up my time period. So based on what we've seen him prior or later, because I know we've seen him in WCW with the blonde hair and the ponytail.
That's prior. Yeah.
Still with the garbage ass cowboy gimmick.
Yeah, but he was big with it in the early 90s.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the early 90s. He's probably fighting Indians.
Well, yeah, to be fair, he's also was considered one of the greatest workers of all time, let alone in that time period prior to this.
Let's put this in perspective. We bring in Barry fucking Windham. We're going to use his Pop's tag name and all that shit. Right? So we bring in Barry Windham. We try to darken him up, cut the blonde hair, cut the ponytail. We give him the 1997 fucking eye tap feet under bathroom stalls at rest stops mustache. We pair him with a dude who looks just like him. They both wear leather chaps and tights. And then look at the other side of the coin. We just pulled another big hoss.
Yep.
From WCW. And what we do with him? We put him in a gold jumpsuit.
And make him androgynous.
I get both sides of the coin. I get people who say, you're fucking crazy. Why would Vince take people and just ruin them on purpose out of spite? Then you got other people who say, Vince does that. Man, I can kind of see both. Like, it's kind of crazy from a business standpoint, but Jesus, sometimes it really just feels like that's what he's doing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. He just likes to bury someone he didn't make, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. In this case, you hope for Barry Windham, but we both know in retrospect it is not going to work out.
Nope. Don't even. Matter of fact, this is where 2 years later would have come in handy because what the fuck happened to him?
Yeah, no doubt.
Probably back to Dub.
They do cut out in the middle of this match to introduce Ken Shamrock to the crowd, who is in attendance
with a sweet 1997 vest on.
Oh, everything in the crowd is 1997. Screams 90s.
It's all gorgeous too. Like, give me that time machine back right now.
So they show Ken Shamrock in the crowd, but he doesn't really do anything here. The Godwins end up slopping the referee post-match. They trap him in between the two of them, and Henry throws the old slop bucket down on top of his head.
Which, I know the slop has been spoken of, especially in that Godwins versus Vader and Mankind tag match we saw, I believe, on the first Raw of our little journey here, episode 2, I think. But I think this is the first time we've actually seen someone actually get slopped.
Yeah, it is. First time we've seen it, on Raw. The referee takes a good bump right off the rip where he slips on it, and then after he takes 2 or 3 more on the floor, it starts to look ridiculous.
That's still some of that cartoony era. That's still some of Vince's intend on being vaudeville.
That's exactly what it is. From there, we cut to the first commercial, and we come back, and Vince mentions the ECW crowd in attendance. Just as he does, the Eliminators jump over the barrier and into the ring. The Perry Saturn and John Cronus, they grab what they call a ring attendant, and they give him the total elimination in the middle of the ring. Paulie dangerously jumps up on the ring apron, jumps in the ring, grabs a mic, and says that he is here to answer the challenge from Jerry the King Lawler. Vince responds very quickly. He says, "The King's answer has been challenged."
Way to go, Vinnie Mac. I guess is why Heyman offers you a job later in the card. You just do so well with syntax. Are you Sid Vicious now?
It was very good. I enjoyed it. Paulie cuts a really quick promo and just says that their ECW is here tonight, and you're going to see a lot of ECW action. What'd you think of this?
I mean, I love this, like the forced but still spontaneity of it. But man, don't have people jump the barrier and hit the ring who are wearing
ring gear.
Yeah.
My God.
Have them in jeans or something. They honestly, they'd have looked. Those two guys, Saturn and fucking Cronus, they'd look more scary in jeans and tank tops. You know what I mean?
100%.
Also, this ring attendant, I assume he's a local worker. Can you get someone else who can, like, I don't know, like the whole thing happened in slow motion. It felt like they held him by the back of his shirt for fucking 15 minutes before they set. I mean, maybe it's on them. Maybe it's on them on the timing. But it definitely felt like this guy was not a worker who knew anything. It felt like this is a guy who agreed to take a bump to be on TV.
It sounds like he's a trainee or something.
Possibly.
The guy puts his arms up like 5 seconds before the move's delivered.
Oh, yeah. It feels like an eternity.
Which is sad because the Eliminators are awesome.
They're fucking incredible.
And
always been a big Saturn fan, and we'll see as we go along his fucking demise. But
I agree. What a great tag team. What a great finisher. And it's unfortunate it didn't go over as big as it should have here. That said, the crowd pops pretty huge when they see him.
Of course.
From there, we cut to a commercial.
Quick commercial, which I was very mad about until we get as we get into the card. I feel like in this card, they treated commercial. I mean, granted, matches were shorter. I think they did commercials way better here than they have in the past 5 weeks or whatever.
If you could see me right now, I'm nodding because I definitely agree with that.
It's less cutting into matches, which is always great.
Yes, you're completely correct. It's much better here. They cut at the beginning, and then we come back, and Little Guido is in the ring, being introduced by Paulie dangerously. He introduces part of the full-blooded Italian, Little Guido, and he's going to go up against Big Stevie Cool of the BWO, and everybody in a BWO shirt loses their collective minds.
Like, we bought these for a reason.
The fake music that goes over top is pretty annoying.
I noticed that too. I even went and found a different clip off network. I honestly assumed they were coming out to Voodoo Child.
No, there's no way they could have done that.
But they came out to something. Honestly, they came out to something I can barely tell on the OG clip. Like I went and found a clip, a bad VHS clip with the USA Network deal stamped on it in the 4x whatever standard definition size, and I could barely hear the music. It's very low. Like it's not piped into the cameras. It's or into the feed. It's all you're getting is the resonant.
Sure.
And that's why they're able to drown it out with some other shit. But honestly, best I can tell, I could not place the music. It sounds like just some other generic bullshit.
I'm sure it is.
Which is surprising because, like, if you use generic bullshit, because they in ECW, these motherfuckers came out to Voodoo Child.
They came out to They didn't have rights to it. They just used it.
Exactly. So on Raw, you'd assume they wouldn't, but I was like, if they drowned it out, they must have. Yeah, because when it comes to rights and things, like that's gotten way more strict over the years. The music they actually used, honestly, sounded just as fucking generic as what they overdubbed for the network.
Yeah, they could have used ECW theme for everybody, and it sounded better.
That's really what they should have done, because we'll get to it later. But Taz is weird. Like they didn't even overdub it. They just added some sounds to it.
Yeah, the Stevie comes out with Supernova and the Blue Meanie, but he calls him
the blue guy.
The blue guy.
Let's not forget on the little VHS camera,
7-Eleven. Yeah, 7-Eleven. So it ends up being Big Stevie Cool versus Little Guido 1-on-1. This match lasts about 3.5 minutes. And in the end, Stevie hits a power bomb on Guido and then goes for the Stevie kick, which is Sweet Chin Music. And he even warms up in the corner. It's pretty blatant.
Super.
Stevie hits the kick. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Big Stevie Cool is the winner of the match. I don't want to say it was a jobber match for Stevie, but it kind of felt like it.
There's a lot of things in here I did not understand. Number one, Heyman on commentary. King is claiming that they're ripping off something. He doesn't say what.
Yeah.
And Heyman asks, "Who and what are we ripping off, sir?" And Vince answers, saying, "The NWO."
I didn't hear him say it.
Yeah, he actually says NWO. I had to rewind it. Like, did you really fucking just say that shit? Like, you're giving credence to it? So, all right. So that's one thing I didn't fucking get. Yeah, like, why give credence to the thing? Raven comes out during the match.
Made no sense. Yeah.
He steps out. Now I've watched a good bit I'd say from a fair amount to a good bit of ECW stuff in his heyday, and I don't remember Heyman or I guess it would actually normally be Joey Styles ever calling him this, but I loved it. Who's this? Vince says, and Heyman says, "Well, that's the ECW World Heavyweight Champion. It's the David Koresh of wrestling."
Yeah, I wrote that down as well. I'd never heard him described that way.
I was like, that's fucking great.
Yeah, it's a great description of what Raven should have been.
Unfortunately, he's like, what, 8? No, probably not even 8. Probably 4 to 6 months away from going to WCW and being anything but.
Yeah, I don't remember the timeline as far as when he goes, but he goes there and starts Raven's Flock, and it gets over for what it is, but he never elevates to where he should have.
They play it well over there as far as all the crowd work, but it just really felt like there was no end game.
No, not at all.
The other thing, and this is kind of Freudian-ish, maybe not, but yeah, Vince calls Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray, I wrote that down too.
Sounds like Harlem Heat, question mark?
Yep, exactly.
I wondered very fervently, are Little Guido's tights, or are they just like 1970s gym shorts that shrunk up in the wash?
I have no idea.
Because they look like ladies' gym shorts. Like, I mean, all right, tights are tights, we get it. But these things have a hardcore elastic deal around, and you can see like the wrinkle. Maybe I'm too fixated on these fucking tights.
I guess so, because I didn't notice that either.
I mean, Ahmed's not here, but
yeah. So you need someone else's tights to focus in on.
These tights didn't look like tights; they look like tight gym shorts. What was that? If this WWF thing doesn't, or that's what I was mentioning earlier, if this WWF thing doesn't work out for you, Vince, we have a job for you in ECW. After commenting that Vince, hey, you're pretty good on commentary.
Yeah, and King goes, "I've heard your broadcast. You could use a commentator."
which is a super fucking slight to old Joey Styles.
Joey, who takes pride.
Well, yeah, for the ECW cats, like the hardcore fans, like that dude is held in high reverence.
Oh, I hold him in high reverence myself.
Oh man, I loved his when I was watching it at that age, like on these tapes being sent to me, and even the pay-per-views I would get for $14.99. Fuck you, WWF. It was fucking amazing. But yeah, so yeah. Also, we get a cut to Goldust. He says ECW. He compares ECW to B-rate movies.
B movies, yeah.
Which works. Then we have technical difficulties. Huh? What the fuck, man?
Yeah, they try to interview him. They cut back to the match. Then they go back to Goldust again.
Which when Heyman says, "Look, homosexual, heterosexual, bisexual. If Marlena comes along, I'd go home with him too.
That's exactly.
Like, hold on, man. Didn't we just do a whole thing about his masculinity last fucking episode to like cut some of this out?
Yeah, if Paul Heyman wasn't watching Raw, he was just excited to be on it. Yeah, Goldust says that he's going to be in the arm wrestling contest later with Marlena and Sunny to make sure that the woman or the man or the it doesn't interfere from last week.
All right, so now the guy who we're supposed to believe is not gay as they've portrayed him. He's androgynous. We're supposed to believe that he is transphobic.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a term we'd have known then, but okay. But still, you know what I mean? Like now, like, who shall cast the first stone, Goldust?
From there, we cut to the backstage area where we get Sunny, and Sunny is wearing a robe, and she is cutting an awful promo on Marlena. Come back to the ring. Honky Tonk Man is coming out. He's going to be officiating the arm wrestling contest. I'm sure everybody is so excited about.
Keep in mind, the arm wrestling contest, we just fucking found out about.
Yes.
It has not been advertised, at least in prior Retro Raw episodes, and it most certainly has not been fucking spoken about until Goldust's promo during a match.
Nor has Marlena and Sunny been feuding whatsoever.
At all. It would make sense if it was her in China, and that'd be a great way to find out that the it is China.
That's exactly right. From there, we find out that Raw is brought to you by Foot Action, another sponsor who is still around today.
Killing the game. I bought some Stridex pads the other day. There's some "you suck honky" chants in
yeah,
here,
right away.
which from a racial standpoint I find hilarious. You suck honky.
So then we see Sunny come out to the ring. She cuts a heel promo when she's inside.
Not just a heel promo, sir. Hold on. She exactly replicates Rick Rude.
Is that what it is?
Oh,
yeah.
You fat, out of even her cadence. You fat, out of shape New Yorkers. Yeah, it's 80s, like mid 80s Rick Rude, 100%.
Well, that was always her shtick, and then it's going to be Sable's shtick here in about 6 months when she breaks off.
God. Keep in mind though, we saw her last week as guest timekeeper. Toward the end, it cuts back to her at the timekeeper's table after the bell is rung, and someone hands her a sign and says "Sunny for president." She's still kicking it pretty face style at that moment. So I think as far as we've seen, this is her first big heel standout.
Yeah, she's been a heel prior to this, but we haven't seen it.
Matter of fact, one of our little Facebook things coming up in the future, if I remember this, will be 2 side-by-side videos posted on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Atomic Dropcast, and it'll be a 80s Rick Rude. Matter of fact, early 90s Rick Rude, when he was feuding against Jake the Snake Roberts, a promo of his or a ring entrance of his, and also the Sunny thing, because I'm telling you, terminology, phraseology, cadence, everything
identical.
I won't say it was identical or down pat, but she thought it was at the time. You could tell somebody backstage was like, "Boogity, just do the Rick Rude."
Oh, I'm interested in seeing that.
I just equate all bad decisions to Doc Hendricks or to fucking whatever his real name is. I can't remember this moment because I'm laughing.
Michael Hendricks.
Hey, Michael Hayes.
Michael Hayes, whatever his name is.
The famed country singer, Michael Hayes. He has an album out. I don't know if you saw the YouTube videos.
I haven't.
Oh, you need to see him because you know how he dresses.
Yeah.
He takes it up a notch for these videos.
So Sunny here makes it seem like she's wearing something skimpy underneath this bathrobe, and she takes it off. And it's basically women's wrestling gear of today.
Yeah, I'd say for '97 though, with the cheeks hanging out, it was probably a little scantily clad.
Probably. From there, we cut back to clips from In Your House and last week on Raw of Chyna attacking Marlena. They show her ragdoller both times. Not quite the intrusive view this week as we saw last week.
A little bit, not as much.
Yeah. Marlena comes out. She cuts a quick face promo about how Sonny's working on the 45th Avenue long enough to show up.
Vince makes a comment, something about, I thought they cleaned that up. As if he's
They cleaned that area up.
As if he's been there before and like, God damn it, yeah, they cleaned it up. That used to be the Stroll.
Finally, Sonny and Marlena go to do this arm wrestling deal. Sonny fakes out on Go from Honky Tonk Man twice. They go back together. Marlena does a fake out on the third time. And at this point, I'm thinking, wow, this is dumb. And they start arm wrestle, and it goes back and forth for about 60 seconds. Eventually, Marlena is about to win, and Sonny throws powder into the face of Marlena. That's where the match ends. I guess Sonny's declared the winner. I'm not really sure. The match kind of doesn't really end. Sonny just attacks Marlena. Some fan from the crowd yells out, "You bitch, you fucking bitch." And it's picked up clear as day, not censored out in the meantime.
It sounds like a lady, too.
It is a lady. It's absolutely a female. It's terrific. And from there, Savio Vega just comes and stomps in the ring in his trench coat, walks over to Marlena, grabs her by the hair, and waits for Goldust to attack him from behind. What'd you think of this whole arm wrestling deal?
Earlier in the deal, when Sonny's doing her Rick Rude impression, behind her, opposite hard camera, there is a fairly attractive looking blonde woman dressed in black, not scantily clad as Sonny is, but for the time, just as much as Sonny is, a very attractive lady.
Sure.
Like everyone in the crowd is like amused at the very least. This lady, the look on her face just makes you look at her, and she's not fucking amused. She's hot. She's clearly hot herself and listening to this garbage. But so I know it's not her. This is coming from the backside of the camera.
Yep.
But I would love to think that lady yelling, "You fucking bitch, you fucking bitch," is the blonde lady in black.
With the nasty look. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, no, obviously it was someone behind the hard camera, but it was pretty funny that it picked up.
Well, my big thing about this was, growing up, probably mostly because my father was a truck driver. I always loved and also because I loved Rambo, I loved the movie Over the Top. So, given that, and I've seen Over the Top a few times, not a great movie, but a good movie, I know what a arm wrestling table looks like.
This is not an arm wrestling table.
Nah, son. It's a low-ass table, and when Marlena comes in there wearing a thong one piece with tights underneath, and Sonny's got, as you mentioned, it's like modern wrestling gear, but it's 97.
Yep.
And you're marketing toward 13-year-olds that need Stridex pads. Like, that's enough. So I think 100%, I don't know how many options of tables they had, but I guarantee you that table was that low for one reason alone.
So they would bend over.
Exactly. It's all for the ass shots.
Yeah, 100%. That's clear.
All one word, hashtag ass shots. ASSHOTS. Ass shots.
The ECW crowd chants at Sonny a few times, "Take it off," and she just shakes her head at him.
Well, hey, honestly though, they were being very kind, because for them it's usually show your tits.
That's exactly what I was waiting on. But not a good segment. It was just a build for Savio Vega and Goldust, but not that good because I didn't see Hunter, I didn't see China. Yeah. I don't know why this was put here.
It works when they build it to Goldust versus Vega, because they cut the commercial when we come back and the match has started. But here's the thing. What is their beef other than Vega grabs up Marlena? All right, whatever, fine. Why, though? Let's go back to the jump. Why is Vega out there for any reason? He's got no allegiance to any of these motherfuckers. I mean, did one of PG-13 be like, "Hey, we white, we like that white bitch. Can you help her?"
He just likes abusing women, I guess.
Honestly, to me, and this is straight, like, just guessing, just throwing it out there, but it feels like they probably had some other ECW thing booked and someone didn't show.
I don't know. I think it's just a poor segue.
Well, but even like the whole idea of the arm wrestling match, like, it just feels forced. So we do get a we do get a cut in here though to Shamrock, which in my notes I put cut to Sham hard as a rock because his face is just lit up watching them bent over fucking arm wrestling
with his wife next to him.
which who looks like Chris. I can't remember the girl's name. Looks like the wife from My Cousin Vinny. And also, of course, you got Pervy Tonk Man, who keeps saying nice, tight, firm grip over and over and over again. And only thing I can think is like, God damn it, why didn't we lose you in Nashville?
Yeah, no doubt. He's pretty brutal. I don't know what they were trying to do with him here. Just play all roles.
They just got him on a contract. They got to use him to get these dates burned up.
I guess that must be the case. From there, we cut to commercial. We come back, and Savio Vega and Goldust are deep into their match. Marlena has disappeared.
her and her fucking 1980s workout outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Goldust ends up facing Savio one-on-one, but Savio does have Clarence Mason, D'Lo Brown, Crush, JC Ice, and Wolfie D. Yes, let me say that again. D'Lo Brown. You're dealing with the real deal now. We come back from the commercial, and Savio is firmly in control of the match. Towards the end, what happens is Crush jumps in and assaults Goldust for no fucking reason. We go through 8.5 minutes of match just for Crush to jump in. After Crush had swept the leg earlier in the match, Goldust gave him an uppercut on the outside, and then I guess he just recovered and decided to jump in.
Yeah, this entire match is a complete waste of time. As far as we know, moving to this point and probably moving forward, this builds to absolutely nothing, and all it is really doing is giving Spanish Tommy Dreamer time to shine.
Exactly. And they have Miguel Perez on commentary. What do you think of that?
Yeah, his English is slightly better than Savio's, much like Savio's got some new tights.
Yes, I refer to it as Spanglish.
Very Spanglish. And matter of fact, even more than Tommy Dreamer, Miguel Perez kind of looks a little bit like Adam Sandler. But it's like I said, it just feels like old Spanish. I don't know what the Spanish word for dreamer is. That'd be funny. Tomas Dreame. Whatever. I don't know. It feels like the whole match is for nothing. It's a time filler, and it's just built. I don't know who Miguel Perez is. I mean, other than who they tell us he is. And I'll say this: it sells the fact that Savio Vega was a Puerto Rican hero, and now he's gone so heel. Now he's so heel. He's still wearing the same goddamn pants, but he's got a black top on now.
He's switched, yeah.
Yeah, he's so heel. Puerto Rican people can no longer be proud of him. And if you go back and listen, it probably means something because, god damn it, he said 155 times every promo how he wants to make the Puerto Rican people proud. So if the Boricuas have turned their back on Savio,
yes,
it's official. I don't know why it took 6 weeks for it to be official that Savio's a bad guy, but he is not.
To be fair, Miguel Perez will become one of the Los Boricuas.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I still just, in this run, I can't get over the fact, knowing that it's ECW and he's coming up, I can't get over the fact he just looks, not so much like Tommy Dreamer of the day that we'll see later, but he looks like the Spanish Tommy Dreamer of now.
Oh, yeah, no, he's not an ECW. He has nothing to do with ECW here. He just looks like Tommy Dreamer.
I was saying, he's like, it's like if we wanted to have a lucha Tommy Dreamer, bang.
Yeah, there it is. Boom, boom. But overall, Goldust defeats Savio based on DQ. There's no Triple H here. There's no China here. I don't get it.
Not at all. This whole thing was a waste for me.
I will say that they keep on showing shots from the balcony here, and I don't think there was a bad seat in this house.
Nah, I mean when you got a capacity crowd of 333.
But no, just from the balconies, there's only like 3 rows in the balcony. There's
I mean 1,000.
yeah, tops. They announced that there's going to be a huge surprise tonight. Did you catch this early in the show?
Yeah. Well, not early in the show, but like somewhere around here. I remember it being said for the first time I caught it. And I honestly, it's funny. Because I had copy and pasted it from elsewhere. I had seen the lineup, and
I had to.
but I didn't. It didn't click to me what the surprise would be.
I clicked that it was a debut, but I didn't either until they said coming up next, and then I realized, oh, okay. But let's not spoil it just yet for those who haven't seen it 20 years later.
Yeah, you fucks. What are you doing with your life? I mean, you're not sitting around watching wrestling from 20 years ago. I mean, Jesus Christ, nerds.
Not like the rest of us. Yeah, what losers. Miguel Perez jumps in the ring. He hits a missile drop kick on Savio and helps Goldust clear the ring. But again, doesn't really lead us anywhere. From there, we cut to next week on Raw, the European Championship from Berlin, Germany. That's all. That's all they say about it.
Well, and funny enough, I think we mentioned it last episode. It was mentioned one time prior. Now, this is the first time we've gotten a date and a place. So it's going to be in Berlin, Germany, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the first time we got a date and a place, but they mentioned this European deal last week or maybe during the pay-per-view. But it was a very quick off the cuff kind of remark, like, and it was originally said like we were supposed to know this shit just already popped, but
yeah,
this week seems to be like the first official like thing we've seen of it.
Yeah, it was definitely the first promo. They do show after that a clip of one of the first Raws where Jerry King Lawler is out there with Tiny Tim making fun of him as he's trying to sing music.
Did you know who that guy was?
No clue.
Me. King references the song, which I forget now. Like I was like, oh yeah, I know of that song, but I didn't know who the hell that guy was.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
I had to rewind it twice to catch his name so I could write it down.
From here, they cut to Jerry Lawler going over to interview Ken Shamrock at ringside. Throughout the night thus far, King has said how he's known Shamrock. They've worked out together. They've been good buddies for a long time. He gets over there, and Shamrock says he doesn't know who Lawler is. He's never worked out with him, so on and so forth. Just keeps on saying, you're a liar. I don't know you.
They're like, hey, you're kind of a dumb jock who can't talk. How can we make him seem natural on the mic? Oh, just have him play dumb.
And he didn't seem natural at all.
I thought in the beginning, his first couple of responses, because he starts out kind of mouth breathing pretty heavy in his fly two-tone black vest with a t-shirt.
Yeah.
His first couple, like, I don't know you. Like I thought he felt good in the beginning, but then King just keeps throwing more things at him, and he just doesn't. He
doesn't know where to go from there.
I will say, I mean, I'll harp on this again later when we get to the overall. Nothing in this card matters except ECW is here, and so is Ken Shamrock. This show is ECW is Shamrock.
There you go. Yeah, Shamrock's a big part of the show, but here it was cringeworthy, I felt. Then we go to the Slammy Awards promo. That's coming up. All of the 1997 Slammy Awards. Hopefully we can get our hands on something like that. Maybe we'll do a bonus show for you guys.
Stay tuned. If we can make it crack, we got something for your ass.
It's not on the network, so we're doing our best to try to find it. From the Slammy Awards promo, we cut into the Taz versus Mikey Whipwreck match. We come back. Mikey Whipwreck's already in the ring. Then we cut to the Taz intro. Finally, about a whole 2.5 minutes later, Taz ends up making Mikey Whipwreck tap out to the Taz mission. I can't pronounce the other pronunciation of this move. Go ahead, Brian.
Kata Hajime.
That one. So at the end of the match, what happens is he's in the ring with Mikey. He's basically dominating most of the match. He looks back well before the cue. Sabu is up on top of the Raw letters, and he dives on top of all of what I assume are Taz's trainees.
I mean, I was trying to pay attention to this one because I knew it was going to be short, but I was like, who is that? Is that security? Like,
Taz was
or WWF's.
Taz was the trainer of ECW school.
Yeah, well, and at a time, I remember later on in ECW when he had the FTW belt, he had FTW security and all that shit. And I know he had previously he had some, but like that many people, I'm like, who the fuck are all these people? Like, and here's the big thing. I have fucking referenced anytime we talked about those raw letters in these episodes, I have either hinted at or specifically said, well, yeah, they got to be there. I mean, fucking Sabu's got to jump off of them. And again, as we mentioned in the earlier portion of this episode, we just, we knew it was this year, but we didn't know it was this quick. So, man, in my head, all I remember is, yeah, motherfucker jumped off that R, and it was rocky as shit. Like, the R was already rocking as he went to launch. And that's, I don't remember anything else. I didn't remember he jumped on a bunch of fucking nobodies for no reason. Like, you couldn't just run. You couldn't run out of the fucking, the gap in the R and the A, son? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he jumps on what I'm assuming are his students or whatever.
Gotta be.
He dives on all these people and then runs to the ring, gets involved. Referee doesn't call a DQ. Taz tries to suplex Mikey over the top rope into him, but it's so brutal. But Taz is just a little guy.
Sabu runs up, I think with the intention of attacking Fonzie. And he's got Fonzie by the black and orange fucking
Taz gimmick.
Yeah,
yep.
He's holding him by the shirt, and you can tell it's supposed to be like he's not actually going to attack him. He's going to run up, start to attack him, and then the idea was that at that exact moment, Taz would, because Heyman is calling these over the head this and over the head that, which don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on that. I love Taz's suplexes. But he's supposed to. I think it may be some kind of arm capture soup. I don't know, but he's supposed to over the head, over the ropes, down to the outside, suplex Mikey up and over, and there is the longest delay to the point where he gets ready to do it, and then let's be honest, Mikey's not the lightest wrestler.
No,
he's a pretty tubby kid.
And Taz is all a 5'8",
known to be very explosive with those suplexes, but who knows? Big stage, whatever. Yeah, so there's a delay. Fonzie, who is a crackhead in my best estimation, snatches away with the fucking reflex time of a mongoose, and Sabu is left there by himself, only to look up and realize, oh shit, the fat kid in the heavy metal tie-dye is not coming over the ropes quite yet. Oh, here he comes. And I'll give Sabu, after the delay, it looks bad. He still catches him pretty decently.
Yeah. But Taz is beating up on Mikey. He's suplexing him around for almost 2 minutes, basically. And he looks up at the Raw sign, probably 20 seconds too early, goes back to Mikey, stomps him a few times, then looks around surprised, like, oh my God, is there someone over there? And it's horrible.
I wonder if someone gave him the cue early, or if his just kind of internal clock was off or something. That's
something was off throughout the entire match because Taz's timing was pretty bad.
I mean, I remember Taz as being incredible, and this match did not tell that story.
No, it did him no justice, even though it was supposed to be a job.
And as mentioned earlier, it's Mikey Whipwreck. He's supposed to get whipped and wrecked.
Yes.
But as mentioned earlier, Taz's music, there's some other stuff as we go on. I quit noting it, but Taz's music is edited as well, because I went and found the original clip in the 480 perspective, USA tag, all that good stuff. And what they do on Taz's music is so weird, because he also was using some generic shit. It wasn't, I don't know what the theme would have been called, but I don't know what it was called in ECW, but here they're using something pretty generic. It sounds very like kind of MIDI, not MIDI in the sense of like 90 fucking 7 internet MIDI, but like MIDI you load into a machine that assigns instruments and it plays, and it sounds like a shitty 1997 keyboard. It sounds like that.
Right.
And so what we get on the network now is exactly the same, except there is the sound of like 2 pieces of conduit, like 3/4 steel conduit being banged together like a bang, 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 in the beginning. And that's it. After that, it's the same. And again, it's the same thing on the original broadcast as it is here on the network. They did not pipe the music into the broadcast. All you're getting is the low, resounding sounds from
generic.
the camera.
Yeah. Huh.
But it was interesting that on his, they changed nothing. They just added something to the beginning. Like, okay, so is that all it took? Like that trumps copyright?
It's that itty bitty thing.
But who knows? At the same time, honestly, that could have been on his entrance before we see him. That could have been Fonzie just like banging his fucking jammed up crack pipe against the A of the Raw letters, trying to clear his bowl.
For the record, I've always hated Fonzie blowing the whistle throughout the match.
Oh man, it's the worst.
I don't get that gimmick at all.
I don't get Fonzie at all. I mean,
yeah.
Especially, I remember Fonzie, of course, from being with Taz and later with RVD and Sabu. But when you go back and watch some good old WCW, it really blows my mind that this motherfucker was ever like a referee without a gimmick.
Oh yeah, big time referee. Then he became the cheating referee, and then
and the crackhead referee, and then
oh, he was always a crackhead. This match is only 2.5 minutes, but they still cut him with a Nation promo from Farouk. He says he's going to beat The Undertaker tonight, and says Ahmed ain't from the streets, and he don't stand a chance at WrestleMania 13. Punk. Yeah. Noteworthy, we have not seen Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, China, or Ahmed Johnson throughout the show.
Sad day when we can't see the Big A.
That's it. From there, we cut to another match. Pretty quick. We go to Headbangers versus the surprise of the night.
Dun, dun, dun.
The Legion of Doom.
What a rush.
Road Warrior Animal, Road Warrior Hawk. They come out to a huge ovation, as much as 600 people can ultimately muster. But the 600 people that are in attendance are ecstatic to see the Road Warriors, no doubt. That's not an exaggeration whatsoever. This entire match ends with a double count out. They're brawl to the outside. LOD throws them back in the ring and hits Mosh with the Doomsday device anyway, which he sells awesome. It looks really good. And LOD is back, and they are over as hell.
I noted they looked, man. First time we've seen them, of course, as a debut. But
yep,
there's a debut since, I believe, like 93 is when they first left the WWF. Did some WCW, some independence, some Japan, and then come back now. But I noted, man, they look old. Like they work rate, they look fine. They did their thing, but
they're in good shape. Body
wise, their age shows. You know, in later years as they keep going on, even when you get into the LOD 2000 and the drunk angle and all that shit, they don't look any worse than they do right now. But they look old.
Yeah.
In comparison to 5 years prior or whatever, but
compared to when they weren't so old.
Yeah, honestly, man, this match it's a waste of fucking time. I hate it. I think the match itself was fine. There's a bunch of big guys in there slamming each other around. Pause. But it's fucking stupid. You've been building the Headbangers up over the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then now you're not gonna necessarily bury them, but you have LOD slide in at the last second, like they almost didn't get counted out, which is another waste of time move. And then you still have the Headbangers taking on the fucking chin with the Doomsday device, which is cool to see. You want to see that, but god damn it, feed them the Hardy Boy.
Yeah, exactly. Feed them someone less important, someone you're not trying to push.
Exactly.
Yep.
If you're gonna give them the headbangers, then have the headbangers lose clean and make it a fucking feud.
Yeah.
In this time period, knowing what we're working toward and knowing what we've seen prior, I don't get the fucking Broadway.
This doesn't help the headbangers at all.
No, it effectively quashes everything you gave them prior. But the saving grace, King once again, just like he did to JR last week, starts to question Vince on what he knows about the headbangers and the kind of music they're into, and and he names I think I forget the first band he names, but the second
9 Inch Nails.
9 Inch Nails. Then he goes Marilyn Manson, and then he goes Butthole Surfers.
It says,
Vince says, "I beg your pardon."
he said it's a very popular band in that scene.
And then Vince's response is the best of the night. Vince just goes, he pauses, takes a beat. Hello? What? Like Vince literally had a malfunction. Like
That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, Vince is a little taken aback by the name of the band.
Oh, it was fucking great. Also, there's more Nitro Sucks chants in here, and Vince amidst the Nitro Sucks chants, Vince launches into his no censorship shit again, and King says, "Well, that's what got these ECW people here." And then right after that, like directly after that, Nitro Sucks turns into Hogan Sucks. So I'll say it's a fine match, but once again, there's a lot of we've seen this in previous episodes recently. There's a lot of shit going on during a match that should be good that makes it hard to pay attention to the match. But I'll say this, even though the match was for shit, it was an okay match that meant nothing and really just did nothing to help an up and coming tag team.
Yeah.
There's some funny from this perspective. Not watching in 97, but there's some funny stuff in here.
Talking about the chants, I don't remember if it was this match or the match prior with Goldust and Vega, but there are chants also that this show sucks over and over and over, because Vince is talking about censorship, and then this crowd starts chanting, "This show sucks," over and over, and then
King says,
talk about censorship.
Okay, or how about some censorship?
Yeah.
I thought because it was Nitro Sucks, then Hogan Sucks, then somewhere we get into the 9 Inch Nails, Butthole Surfers, all that, and then the time period you're speaking of, I thought, I could be wrong, I thought they were saying Bischoff sucks.
I heard this show sucks.
It could be either. And maybe I thought Bischoff just because it's the Nitro Hogan is that's the natural progression.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking it was during WWF match on an ECW Invasion show, and the ECW fans are trying to take over.
Very, very true. And honestly, because of the King line, how about some censorship?
Yep.
Now or something like, how about censorship now or something? That makes sense. And because I don't think Vince really responds.
Right. The match itself goes 7.5 minutes. It's about 80% Road Warriors dominating, and then they actually end up selling some moves, which is something they notoriously do not do. But they played ball here, and they sold for the headbangers, and the headbangers even end up hitting a move that would later go to be popularized by the world's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin.
Oh yeah, that wheelbarrow hold springboard kind of deal.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool to see.
I will say, for LOD and their reputation, and maybe this goes to them looking a little old, they seem softer here. They seem nearly as stiff as we know them to be.
They seem to be working the way that everybody else does, which is great.
They like you said, they seem to be playing ball.
They're selling moves. They're not throwing stiff, punch to the face.
Well, even some of the chops, rather than being flat-handed, this really loud chops, they were knife edging them, and you still got a little noise out of it, but clearly it's not creating blood blisters on the guy's chest for no reason.
I guess they realized finally that people don't like working with them if they're just going to beat the shit out of them.
Well, and I looked into it a little bit. They just came, in between WCW and here, they just came back from Japan. So maybe they got a little too rough with somebody, got their ass handed to them the match prior to coming back.
That could be. I don't know.
Because Japan, it's fucking strong style and all that,
Oh
and
no,
all that shit.
no doubt. It's pretty crazy over there, especially this time. From that match, we kind of gave our overview thoughts of it. Kind of waste for the headbangers, but
agreed.
it's good. It's good for LOD to come back. Shall we see a Shawn Michaels music video of sadness? This video package was about 18 minutes long. No, it was about 5 minutes long, but it felt like 20 minutes long.
The montage of lost smiles.
Yes.
Recorded on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
They show a Shawn Michaels music video where he's giving over the title. He's wearing a cowboy hat. He's crying, blah, blah, blah. Then they show him winning the title. They show him 30 super kicks. They show all ridiculous highlights. And it just goes on and on and on and on.
And as the resident Shawn Michaels mark here at the illustrious Atomic Dropcast, I fast forwarded through that entire fucking thing. But the best thing to come out of that is we get notice. I think just before that, we get notice Mark Merrow is out too. Knee injury. He's out.
I didn't hear that.
First time we hear Shawn's name. Shawn is mentioned, and then right after, it's by Vince, and Vince mentions Mark Merrow also being out with a bad knee. And they mentioned something about Shawn not needing surgery, but Merrow possibly not being so lucky.
Why did we not get a Mark Merrow music video of sadness?
Well, because we've been watching his matches for a couple weeks now, and that's kind of a music video of sadness.
The same thing, yeah.
Mark Merrow never found his smile, much less lost it.
That's right. From that awful music video, we cut into the last ECW match of the night. We get Tommy Dreamer versus Devon Dudley. Sign Guy Dudley is accompanying Devon, and Tommy has Beulah McGillicuddy with him. The finish of the match, we see that Dreamer hits a Dreamer DDT on a steel chair after Devon tries to force Beulah into the ring. Dreamer gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. It's over. Basically, this match to me was just them trying to personify the ECW style as much as they could. They used a lot of weapons. There was no disqualifications. There was chairs in the ring, stairs in the ring, and bears in the ring. No, everything but that.
That was Beulah.
What'd you think of Dreamer and Devon?
It was all right. It was hard to fucking pay attention to because again, we get a fucking 1/3 split screen of an Undertaker promo.
Yep.
Which was fine, not bad, not too many. I won't say it's not too many words, but there's less words than we've been seeing, so it's good. But still, distracting from the fucking match. I will say, even though very well versed in ECW, some of the other matches make more sense now with some of the shenanigans that were going on, and they forgot to tell us.
Yep.
All these matches were held under ECW rules.
Right.
So no fucking disqualifications. This is the first time we see it blatant and they comment on it. I will say this match for me gets match of the night.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Opening fucking spot. Inverted atomic drop.
That's awesome.
But on top of that, I fucking hate the baseball basement, whatever. I've seen it called basement, but I've always known it as the baseball slide into the stairs that pops Devon. Only because he sets the stairs up he being Tommy Dreamer sets the stairs up like way too early, man. It's like 3 minutes before we get that hit. And honestly, call me a traditionalist, but I like when someone sets up a weapon, they're usually the one that gets hit with it.
Yeah. I don't know. It was an okay spot as far as effectiveness, but it did look like a big setup.
The move was fine. The setup killed it.
Yeah. And to me, this match was pretty bad. I couldn't get into it. I love Devon, and looking at him now, to think that he's going to be a legend in a few years, blows my mind. But
I wondered why he was out here by himself with just Sign Guy Dudley. That was strange. But of course, and it all makes sense toward the end.
Yeah, after the match, or I guess immediately after, Bubba Ray Dudley shows up. He attacks Tommy Dreamer with Devon. They end up hitting a 3D in the middle of the ring. Crowd pops big for that, and then immediately Sandman is already in the crowd heading towards the ring. He comes out, drinks a beer, and then spits half of it into the ring, has a kendo stick with him, and clears the ring out.
I don't think he ever uses the kendo stick though, because he mainly uses a chair.
Yeah, and drops the kendo stick pretty early. Grabs a chair and beats the shit out of Devon and Bubba with a chair. Clears the ring.
And he has the mullet of all mullets. It's the sweetest. It's the sweetest temple fade mullet I've ever seen.
Yeah, overall the 30-second ending was more exciting than the rest of this match.
100%. And again, like, it was hard to even pay attention to the match because on top of the Undertaker promo, you also had King and Heyman starting to get into it. Little fun spot. King calls Heyman a jock sniffer.
Yeah. King also calls it extremely crappy wrestling for the first time here, or first time to Heyman's face. And Paulie gets real defensive on commentary after the match, and after all the interference is cleared up. Paulie goes to leave. He thanks Vince for the time, thanks Vince for the opportunity to promote his pay-per-view, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
and very professional. And then King's riding him the whole way out and calls it extremely crappy wrestling, blah, blah, blah. Tells Paulie, get the hell out of here. Paulie gets up off the thing, turns his hat around, starts to walk away, turns around and dives after King.
And the ECW locker room that doesn't exist empties.
Yes. Yeah. All 8 guys show up out there.
The Eliminators are back. Taz is back.
Yep.
It's just a bunch of short bald people.
Yeah, they're trying to hold Paulie back from King.
Heyman included.
King gets up on the announcer's table and he's ready to dive at people if everybody wasn't holding him back.
Honestly, I'll say this: it was a cool ending.
Yep.
To this ECW portion, I feel like it was such a big kerfuffle that it should have been kind of the end of the show. But this is, like we talked earlier, and you reminded me, speaking to something, you're like, well, it's a WWF show. Okay, you're right.
You gotta put your main eventers on last.
Yeah, they're lending the hand. They're not selling a joint show.
Yep.
And I don't even think this is the pay-per-view that King, the one they're promoting. I don't even think this is the one that King shows up on.
I don't know.
Because I believe he wrestles Raven in a cage. If I'm not mistaken, I very well could be. It's been a long time. I intend to watch all that, but God damn it, we talked about it before. I believe in other episodes, unless it's been cut out. I gotta find it in its regular form because this very reason right here. This is where I stopped checking if they change people's music out. Because like I know, there's no way Sandman came down to his music. And it keeps playing throughout the end of that thing. So,
yeah.
And then hearing him in there with anything but, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, even in the ECW shows, it's dubbed over.
On the network, almost all the ECW stuff is dubbed over.
And WCW.
Well, it's crazy though, because like certain stuff, like Raven's theme in WCW, still plays, and it's an interpolation. It's been replayed, so maybe they paid the rights, but it's clearly Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's
a slight ripoff.
Yeah, it's that old Vanilla Ice doon thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. From that match, we cut to another ad for the WWF European Championship next week on Raw. We get a recap of last week's Raw and the false starts for the world title match. They show a WWF Superstars exclusive where Brett is throwing chairs around. They finally promo WrestleMania 13. We see WWF Championship match will be Sid versus The Undertaker. And the second match they announced will be Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. It will be a no-holds-barred match, and then later we find out it's a submission match.
What's fun in this is, what's fun and not, is Vince intros the recap, saying that it'll be recap, because clearly it's been pre-recorded, it'll be recap by JR, who's not here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere in here also, he lets it flow that it's JR's not here. I think it's later once we get to the main event, but he lets it be known JR's not there because his father has passed.
Yeah.
But also, it seems like maybe JR didn't get to finish recording the overdub because we get a very, as far as our episodes go, a very unfamiliar voice, Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette holds down the voiceover for the end of that recap.
For Bret Hart and Stone Cold.
Yeah, when especially when they get to the backstage attack for Stone Cold. Remember we commented that the point where Sid gets back from the ring way too fast.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
From there on, it's Jim Cornette. So all I can assume is JR did the majority of the voiceover. They decided to keep it because it was good, and I guess they added some stuff later or whatever the case may be. Didn't have JR because he was already gone because of the family emergency, and fucking Cornette filled it. Because keep in mind, we came into this at Royal Rumble knowing full well Cornette was handling Vader as well as Bulldog and Owen Hart, who are all three absent from this show, but we have seen them with no one other than Vader, of course, with Paul Bearer, and Owen and Bulldog with the hardest working man in the WWF,
Clarence Mason.
Bong Bong. So it was just fun for me. I was like, so it's fun and it's not fun because it's fun. Like, oh shit, we hear Cornette for the first time in Atomic Dropcast history, but yeah, we hear JR, but his daddy died.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, we get that deal. We find out Austin will face Bret. It's kind of sad that there's no whole challenge and acceptance between the two of them.
Yeah,
they just kind of announce it. From there, we get Todd Pettengill gets an interview with Ken Shamrock. Basically asks Ken, what do you think of the action so far? He says, it's exciting.
Here's where he is super unnatural.
Yes, he's with his wife, introduces her. They say that she has laryngitis, barely talk, makes her say hi anyway.
Like a dick.
Yes, totally like a dick.
Hey, hashtag Todd Pettingill's a dick.
From there, he introduces his father, Bob Shamrock, who's real proud of his son, and then they ask Ken to give predictions for WrestleMania. Ken predicts Undertaker over Sid, and then says he won't pick over between Bret and Austin because it's going to be so close.
Oh, I wonder maybe if he'll be involved.
Oh, I wonder. From there, we cut to the main event of the night. Farouk comes out. He's joined by Clarence Mason, Crush, D'Lo Brown, JC Ice, Savio Vega, and Wolfie D.
I like how that's broken up. JC Ice, Savio Vega, and Wolfie D.
When there's so many of them, it's hard to keep track in the right order. From there, Undertaker comes out and takes about 15 minutes to get to the ring. It's a ridiculously long entrance. Farouk promos on Shamrock during his intro and says, I don't know what kind of catfighting you do, but here in the World Wrestling Federation, basically says that it's more real than UFC. Or Shamrock says this about Farouk, that he's running around intimidating people, but he can't fight anyone one-on-one. If Vince McMahon wants to put something on the line, then he'll fight him. Him being Farouk. We cut to a commercial from there and come back to Vince calling Farouk Farik.
He forgot the name he gave the motherfucker.
He forgot it twice. And King has to say something. If you keep calling him Farik, he might do it to you.
What, am I Farik him?
I don't know what he's going to do. Prior to the match, we see that D'Lo and Farouk are talking. Obviously, Farouk needs some advice on the match, and he's leaning on the all-time great D'Lo for some help.
So I tried to tell you before we got out here, you should have worn a chest protector.
That's what he's telling him. This is how you powerbomb someone. You don't drop them back on their face. Lift them all the way up.
You got them up. Keep going. It's only a few more inches, man.
Anyway, during the match, towards the finish, or I guess part of the match, is D'Lo gets... I'm just going to cover D'Lo's shit. That's basically what this match is going to be.
There's nothing much else here.
That's it. It's a long match. It's almost 12 minutes, but it felt even longer. I like that they have Undertaker closing the show. Farouk is a good upper mid card guy to pair him with to see if he's got it. But overall,
upper mid card, the former WCW champion of the world.
Yes. Yeah, they don't give him all the credit he's due.
But they give him all the helmets he's due.
That's it.
I'm sorry, they give him all the helmets he's blue.
He's blue. They're testing him out here against The Undertaker to see what happens, but it was kind of slow all around. Farouk tosses Undertaker out of the ring. Undertaker goes to get back up, but D'Lo comes from behind with a chop block and just obliterates the knee of the Undertaker. I think I saw a torn ACL, MCL, patella tendon. It's all gone.
I believe they're talking Undertaker's not coming back now. His last WrestleMania, it's over, it's done, and they're still harkening back saying it's a chop block.
It's a chop block from D'Lo in 1997 Raw, February 24th.
Latent injuries, man, they get you.
They do. They lay, especially these dominating ones like this. Anyway, Undertaker eventually gets back up. He throws D'Lo into the ring steps. What a great sell from D'Lo. Probably looked like he was going to die.
Except he looked back at some point, still bent over the stairs to see if Undertaker was gone. the camera hadn't cut away.
I didn't see that.
The cameraman's the asshole.
I don't believe it. I think you're making it up.
D'Lo did his due diligence. He didn't get up until the man was gone, but the cameraman didn't cut away.
This match ends 2 seconds before Raw ends when the Nation, Crush, and Savio Vega jump in the ring and attack Undertaker for no reason. It was a good show overall. The finish was pretty rough. I wasn't a fan of the match ending that way or the show, but I guess they ran out of time.
I like that the show ended abrupt. At the end of something. That's 1, 2, 3, ding ding ding, copyright. Like I love that kind of thing. But that being said, this was shit.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. Again, moving forward, it will be a running theme where we end on a lot of matches, but here it just doesn't work.
I wondered, I could be wrong, this is possibly completely speculative, but it feels like maybe they just didn't trust ECW guys, and they were crunching them on time in the sense of they probably had more time than they knew, or being told worried that they were going to go over, because the whole bingo hall thing gets thrown around as a joke, but it's not just a joke, it's also like a real life fucking disparative remark. So they probably didn't think these guys were that professional. So I wonder if those guys kind of rushed through their stuff to make time, and then when they got here, they realized, oh shit,
we got too much time. Yeah.
The match itself, yes, was long, but as you mentioned, that Undertaker entrance was long as shit.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, I don't know. It did seem like they were trying to fill something here because everything overall was pretty slow throughout the main event. But overall, that's my, the thought of the show was it was a lot of fun. The ECW stuff was great. Definitely got me excited. Kept me into the show throughout. Main event was a little disappointing towards the end, but it's good to see the Undertaker do his thing. We forgot to mention that the Legion of Doom did come out towards the end and help the Undertaker fight off the Nation of Domination. That does end up leading towards something, moving towards WrestleMania. Yep.
Interesting.
I'll give it another 4 out of 5 wobbly R letters. Well, what are you going to give it here?
All right. I'll have to give it only it's a great show, but only because I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the anticipation given for it from last week. I'll have to give it 3.5 out of 5 Sandman moments. Or Zubaz. Whatever works. Kendo sticks. I don't know. Pick something with Sandman. It's not beer, and there you go. That's the rating I'm giving it.
All right.
3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5. I'm giving it a 4. There you have it, folks. Let us know what you thought of Raw 198. Check us out on all the platforms. We're on the Stitcher, the iTunes. We're on the RSS feeds. Check out the atomicdropcast.com, of course. You can check out every way to subscribe. I'm sure I'm missing about 40 of them. We're everywhere you find your favorite podcasts. I'm Mikey, as always, for Brian. Thank you for joining us. And as always,
drop some knees on some ass.